Good afternoon, everybody. This is Steve Fletcher with a trumpet for my people. Today is February 19th, 2024. I wanted to put together this information for you all in one location. A lot of this we have talked about previously, but now that we are coming up upon February 20th, February 21st, let me remind everybody what we are looking at. From January 11th, the midpoint of all eclipses, 40 days to February 20th. February 21st is the 6-year anniversary of Billy Graham. If we look at the asteroid Esther that has been on the head of Virgo for some time now, it is going to be leaving the head of Virgo starting now. It is stepping away from Virgo. So this is the last time frame that the asteroid Esther is going to be crowning Virgo. After February 20th and 21st, this asteroid is going to be going away from the head of Virgo, and this will no longer apply. So this sign brings us to February 20th, February 21st. On the Torah calendar, February 21st is the fast of Esther. On February 21st, it's the fast of Esther. So we have a biblical connection to this sign, this asteroid Esther that was named after the biblical character of Esther. It's on the crown or on the head of Virgo, crowning Virgo. And so on the Hebrew calendar, it's the 12th day of Adar, which is the 12th month. So the Hebrew date is 12/12, and on the Torah calendar, it's the fast of Esther connected to this sign. Very important information. Now, as we were looking at the January 11th midpoint of all eclipses, we also know that 2,598 is the number of Hanukkah or Chanukah. And so this sign can only be connected to one set of eclipses with a span of 2,598 days. So if we go from June 21st, 2020 to August 2nd, 2027, these two eclipses, which are both over Israel, are conjoined with the middle point on January 11th of 2,598 days. So if you add this to the fact that if we go forward 40 days from January 11th to February 20th, then we are connected by 1,260 days from February 20th to this last eclipse in this cycle, August 2nd, 2027. Both of these are given to us as biblical clues. First of all, this day, as being the 12th day of Adar, could be the day of our escape, and the tribulation begins the next day, because in Esther 9:1 it says, "Now in the 12th month, that is the month of Adar, on the 13th day of the same, when the king's commandment and his decree drew near to be put in execution, in the day that the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power over them, though it was turned to the contrary, that the Jews had rule over them that hated them." Esther 9:1 shows us that the annihilation of the Jews was planned for the 13th day of the 12th month of Adar. Okay, so this is the last day before the planned annihilation of the Jews, the 12th day of Adar. And Revelation 12:6 says the woman fled into the wilderness where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. And so you've got this day that is given to us in the book of Esther. And then you have the woman fleeing into the wilderness for 1,260 days, which is the timing of the tribulation, the beginning of the tribulation period. So all of this is perfectly aligned with January 11th as the midpoint of these two eclipses. And the difference then is the 40 days and the 1,260 days that connect us to the timing of Purim and connect us to the timing of the 1,260 days of the woman fleeing into the wilderness. Now it's interesting that on the same day, on February 21st, 20th, 21st, Venus and Mars are perfectly conjoined in Capricorn. Now, Mars was perfectly aligned in Sagittarius with the crossbow on January 11th. And Mars is the planet of war. And it was perfectly aligned with the crossbow in Sagittarius on January 11th. So we have a 40-day sign from January 11th, and now, as we're seeing all of these other signs leading to this time frame, especially the beginning of the tribulation period, the planet of war is now coming after Venus. Venus representing the Christians, Venus representing the bride of Christ, or the bright morning star, the symbol of Jesus. And there's a war that is happening, and Mars is in conjunction with Venus right now on February 20th and 21st. That connected to Esther crowning the head of Virgo. Okay, so all of this they're interrelated. All of these signs are interrelated. The next thing that we've seen over the last few days is that just on February 17th, we had a ship attacked in the Red Sea with the name of POLLUX. And in the book of Acts, there's a ship whose sign was Castor and Pollux from the constellation Gemini, Castor and Pollux. And so there's a ship with the name Pollux that was just attacked. And in the book of Acts, there's a ship that has the name of Pollux written on it. The sign of the ship was Castor and Pollux. And so then it goes on to say that they tarried there for 3 days. And so from February 17th, when the ship was attacked, 3 days later, we have the sign of Pollux in the constellation of Gemini, with the moon being perfectly aligned with Pollux on February 20th. All of this is also connected to this time frame. The other very important sign we have on February 20th is that Comet E3ZTF, the green comet that we saw crowning the head of the serpent on December 18th, 2022, which was Hanukkah. This comet that was crowning the head of the serpent in Corona Borealis. 430 days later, the time that Israel spent in Egypt, 430 years, 430 days, this comet is crossing the line of the heavenly clock exactly on February 20th. This is a very important marker. This comet, which crowned the head of the serpent on Hanukkah, December 18th, 2022, is now crossing the line of the heavenly clock exactly on February 20th. Okay? So if we watch carefully the calendar, the The Torah calendar this year does not have an extra month. The Torah calendar this year does not have an extra month. And so according to the Torah calendar, we are in the 12th month now, and this is the timing of Esther, the timing of Purim. Right now, coming up, this could be our escape just before the timing of Purim. On the Torah calendar, this is going to be Purim. The Hebrew calendar has Purim delayed 1 month into a leap month that they are adding this year, but there is not a leap month added in the calendar of the Torah. Well, all of this lines up with now, and this will not line up next month. The other thing that does not line up next month is that the asteroid Esther will not be on the head of Virgo any longer. It'll be way up here into the constellation of Leo. Okay? And so this only happens right now. This sign only happens right now with the connection of this Hanukkah set of eclipses. This only happens right now. Okay? And this there's no way that this can be a coincidence, that this tanker was just hit with the name of POLLUX, and it's all connected here by 3 days to February 20th. Okay. Was Billy Graham a sign for the church? Remember when Billy Graham died, he died on the same biblical date as the death of Moses. This is a very important aspect of the death of Billy Graham. He died on Adar 6, which is the day that Moses died. And that represented an end of a generation. And Joshua then was the one that was going to take them into the promised land. Is Billy Graham a sign for the church? So all of these signs are adding up to a very high watch for Rapture on February 20th, 21st, 2024. I wanted to just share all of this with you. I pray you are all blessed. This is Steve Fletcher with the trumpet for my people, the sign of his coming revealed.
Hallelujah!